Good morning, everyone. Cynthia here. Hey, I'm doing something new today with this video. This is the next step in making my English poetry book, junk journal, I guess. And so I'm doing a voiceover, which I usually don't do, but we will see what happens with this. All right, so what you're seeing here is me prepping the book. I am cutting the covers off of the book block there, the page block. And yeah, I mean, there's nothing really to tell you here. Got the spine. I'm going to keep that with all of my ephemera that I want to use for this book so I can maybe utilize that again. I am going to keep this little old what would have been in here, the checkout card, I don't know. Anyway, in modern times, the school library this was in, put on, some kind of sensor thing on there, and it didn't completely come off, which is fine. Probably I will just cover that up with some of the other ephemera that I'm going to be using in this book. I did take off some of that mesh and paper from the spine. I did reserve that as well. It's kind of messy. Every time I touched it, it seemed like it was shedding just little pieces of paper scrap on there. So yeah, that is the leftover text block, and let's see what we can do with that. All right, so the next decision I was making, so I really would like to have the cover for this book be heavily decorated, so collaged and maybe some 3D elements, and I didn't want to do that to the original 5 Centuries of English Poetry cover because I love it so much. So I thought that maybe it would be fun to do sort of a faux cover, a second cover. So I'm going to use this old Reader's Digest condensed book cover, and what I'm writing in there is sort of the dimensions of what the inside pages should be in that book, and that is going to be the actual external cover of the book. I'm going to of course cover that with fabric and paper and other ephemera, and then the real book cover is going to sit inside it so that when you open up that front cover, you will still see the 5 Centuries of English Poetry. We'll see how that works. Never done that before, but that might be kind of interesting. So here, you guys, what I'm doing is just prepping all of those papers that I showed you in yesterday's video. Just prepping those, cutting them down to size if they need to be cut down to size. I did start off with my paper trimmer here, and I'm gonna tell you what I think of most paper trimmers. I've never found a paper trimmer that I particularly care for. This one that you're seeing here on the screen included. Yeah, I find it works easier to lay down a ruler and to tear off the edges that I don't want to use, as you see what I'm doing with this signature right here. And yeah, it just, for some reason, the paper trimmers, I don't know, I never feel like I get a completely square corner when I use them. So yeah, I did have this one out to begin with, and you'll see later when I use it. So here I'm actually even just using it as a ruler to measure the pages and see what happens. But for the most part, I'm just deciding the size that I want to use for those papers, and I'm just folding them freehand. So I'm not scoring, I'm not actually cutting. This one I think I did cut using the paper trimmer. Yeah, and I'm saving some of those offcuts because I'm thinking I'm going to use those for either collage or ephemera later on in the process. So there you go, I'm reverting back to my tearing roller instead of using the paper cutter. Yeah, that's all I have to say about that right now. We'll just, I do have chapters below, you guys. I'm going to have chapters for all the different sections of this. I guess I just wanted to share with you my process, and so that's what I'm doing. Yeah, pretty soon, like I said, I will get rid of this this paper cutter. I actually have, you know, I can't even think what the name of it is right now, but it is, it's really for quilting. It's like a press and cut sort of thing, and I actually enjoy using that more than I do these silly paper cutters. It's like I said, I've never been happy with I never feel like I get a right angle cut on them. So there you go. I put it away. There we go. This is my quilters cut and press thing. What company is this from? I don't know. I have a couple of these. I do like this size. It's easy to use. I have a larger size one that's a little bit bulky, but I got it on sale at Hobby Lobby, really cheap. So I just picked it up. It's kind of a backup, but yeah, I really, really like this. It's easy to measure, and then I can just get out. My little. I have a kind of a mini rotary cutter that works really well. I don't think I'm gonna. I do use it, but not on this piece. So this is one of those old Reader's Digest Road Atlas things, probably from the 60s, 70s. Now, another thing that, as you can tell, this quilt and press works for is for scoring. If I use my bone folder and just run a nice line down where I want to, oh, and here's my little mini rotary cutter. If I just run a nice strong line down that ruler, it's very easy for me to just use this also as a scoreboard. This cutting surface is a little harder than like a Fisker's cutting mat, but it still scores just fine. A little softer surface might be nice, except a little softer surface, and sometimes with a regular scoreboard, what I find is that the my bone folder just kind of cuts through the paper if I'm being a little overzealous in that. So yeah, I use this also as a scoreboard. So really, I could just get rid of most of the stuff I have and just sort of stick with this quilter's cut and press. I think down in the corner there it says I'll put some information in the description below regarding the company, but I do believe that I got this probably at Hobby Lobby. It's probably a Hobby Lobby find. So, Yeah, here I'm just deciding what parts of the page I want to have. So I decided to do some shorty pages of those so that it wouldn't cut into some of the, I guess, the activities on it. Sometimes I get a little weird about what I want to have included on a page. So this is some beautiful organ music. I love this book that I have. Yeah, it's just great. I usually just take the edges off of the pages and then they're great. So what you see me doing here is, so I have my measurements for this. I think it was like 7 3/4 inches tall is what the pages need to be. And then 9 1/2 is how wide they need to be. And then of course they're folded in order to add into a signature. So a lot of times I will take off, rather than cutting from just one edge, I will take off some from the center or from each edge. So I will measure my page. Let me see if I can say this so it makes some kind of sense. I will measure the length of my page, and let's say my page is 11 inches long and I need it to be 9 1/2. I will take off 3/4 of an inch from each side of the page, rather than just take off a full 1.5 inches. That way, there's a lot of times when then the page is balanced. I guess I hope that makes sense. Because sometimes then all you're taking off, you're leaving all the interesting stuff, and all you're doing is taking off like the little margin type parts. So yeah, that's usually how I cut down my pages. And that little rotary cutter, I believe I got that at Hobby Lobby too. I'm sorry to say I don't think they carry them anymore. They may carry another one, but yeah, they had them, and I bought it, and then noticed it was, not too long after I bought it, that they were offering the cutter and as well as the little cutting wheels. They were offering those for on sale, like they're 75% off sale. So I did buy whatever cutting wheels they had, because I thought, well, I'm not going to be able to find cutting wheels for it anymore. So yeah, I made sure to stock up. I think there are other places. Dollar Tree actually has a fairly good little rotary cutter. I don't believe that they sell replacement wheels. I actually think I do have one hanging around in my house, and they work perfectly fine. It's just that I'm not sure that you can actually get replacement wheels for them. So once they're worn out, they're kind of done. So that's the only problem with that. Very inexpensive, $1.25. You cannot complain about a rotary cutter for $1.25. But when it just ends up going into the landfill, there's, it's the high cost of low price or something. Is that what I'm trying to say? Yeah. Cheap is great until it's not. So here I'm going to actually make a pocket on this. So I'm making it 2 inches longer than it needs to be. I'm going to fold that up. That's going to become pockets. And it's also, so then I trim the folds so that it's easy for those pockets to work in the book. And then here I am also going to make some side tuck spots on those pages. And as you can see here, once I do that, then I tear out that corner, and this way then I can decide which direction I want the pockets to go on each side of that. You can tell, my favorite way to cut paper is just to fold it, and if you fold it each direction, then it's really easy to just tear. All right, so here we are to stacking the signatures. At first I thought maybe I would just do three signatures in this book, but I won't get ahead of myself. So here what I'm doing is I'm just sort of separating. I thought I'd do 3 signatures, so I'm separating things into 3 piles. I start with the full-size pages first. I start with those, and I did notice that this page was too wide. I think this is one from one of the recipe books or the embroidery book or whatever. So I start with full-size pages. I counted those up. There were 19 of them, I think. So I pulled another couple pieces out. Oh, this one also was not quite skinny enough. And I'm keeping those end cut pieces for like when I'm going to make a master board for this book and some collage elements, and I'm going to try to use all those scraps in that. So anyway, I do have a pile now that are full-size pages. These are all the shorty pages, and I organize those by height. Pull out the ones that are short. I get them arranged from shortest to tallest. I counted those. I think I had 22. Was it 22? And I think I had 20 of the tall pages. So I ended up with 42 pages, or 44. Maybe it was 44. And so then I thought, well, that's an awful lot of pages. And I decided I was just going to use them all. So then I said, well, I guess I'm going to make 4 signatures. So then I just start sort of laying them out, just sorting through them, trying to make sure that papers that are too much like each other don't go next to each other. Yeah, that's all I'm doing here is sorting all those pages out into 4 signatures. Once I get that done, then I will start organizing them from the outside of the signature into the center. And I usually try to do a big page, a shorty page, big page, a shorty page. Now these don't always stay exactly like this, but it's just a good place to start. So there we go, 1 signature done. And I'll do the same for all of the other ones. A lot of times the one I pick for the center will be something that's really visually interesting. So there I traded out the children's book page for the page with all the wrapping paper with all the butterflies on it. All right, once I get those 4 signatures done, I will just leaf through them to see if I like the order of pages. Sometimes something doesn't have quite enough contrast, like here. I wanted to make sure that you saw some of the die cut on that one piece of stationery, and here also you'll notice that I trade around some pages just to make sure that things stay interesting. Traded some things around there, and now I think I'm pretty happy with how the signatures are stacked. Thanks you guys, I really hope you enjoyed that. If you did, please like, comment, or subscribe, and I hope to see you right back here again soon. Thanks you guys, bye.